Hi guys, what I'd like to do in this video is talk about some pivot concepts, and more specifically, should you be thinking about pivoting around your right hip, your left hip, or is a center-based pivot a little bit better way to go? So what I did here is not a very fancy video, but looking at the blackboard. Okay, so in this position of the chalk, we would assume that our hips are square to the target like we'd be at setup. And so this is a left base pivot. Obviously the hips would rotate about 45 degrees away from the target, and then they would return back to square, then they would open towards the target. So the geometry here looks pretty good. Alright, so let's look at a right base pivot. Again, the hips open towards the target, return back to square, and then the hips and the body have to face the target at the finish. But we're going to see the geometry looks kind of different here. Then let's look at a center base pivot. Hips rotate about 45 degrees, square up, face the target. So this geometry looks a lot like the center base pivot. And if we look at all three of them together, we see center, left, and right. The center and left look super similar. This would be like from an overhead view. So now let's look at what they would look like in an actual golf swing if we took the arms and club away. So this would be a right-based concept of turning around your right hip. Looks fine here. Now that back hip can advance forward, so wow, that doesn't look too good. Now we'll go to left base pivot. You see I have to stand differently to make this work. So my left hip's going to stay pretty stationary. Rotation looks fine, but gee, my head looks kind of funny. And now the concept of more of a center base pivot looks pretty normal, doesn't it? It's what we see good golfers do. Now let's look at this view. Right base pivot. Wow, that just doesn't seem right. Left base pivot. Okay, head looks kind of funny. You also notice that I lost spine angle there, so that requires some sort of manipulation to fix that. Right base pivot also looked funny, so we've had to have some pretty big compensations to fix that. Now let's look at center base pivot. Looks pretty good, pretty normal, doesn't it? Still able to maintain this angle. So that's as deep as I'm going to go. Hopefully this will spark some discussion here on YouTube. So have at it, and thank you for watching.